Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Veil. My name is Keith Willard. I am the host and creator of the show, as well as an event planner here in South Florida. It is great to have everybody back. Today, we're going to be talking about wedding planning certification programs. And actually, we're going to be talking to one of the nation's largest certification programs, the Bridal Society. More now than ever, there's so many people out there that have been furloughed from their jobs, whether it's a venue or a hotel or other source. More than ever, people are thinking about, what do I need to do to be able to pivot my business? How to pivot my future and include wedding planning? And even if you decide to continue on with your hotel in a sales kind of place, learning more about the bridal industry and about bridal certification will help you in sales. I know that personally as a previous director of catering. I know that my experience with planning events definitely helped me sell for future brides, and this could probably help you as well. But before we get into that, let me introduce our Behind the Veil crew. Our first is Marcy Gutenberg with An Affair to Remember by Marcy. It is great to see you, Marcy.
Great to see you, Keith. Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, Tyler Black with Cachet Events. Tyler, it's good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
And of course, Brooke Logan Stoner, our fresh eyes, our real perspective. It's lovely to see you again, Brooke. And she's out. She's there somewhere. All right, so let me introduce Laurie Hartwell with the Bridal Society. Laurie, it is great to see you. She is with a wedding planning certification program and more. Laurie has nearly 30 years of experience in the hospitality industry, teaching the Bridal Society Wedding Planning Certification Conference, public speaking, and planning weddings across the country. She has earned many awards over the years planning weddings for celebrities and other elite clientele, and recently won Most Helpful Mentor at the National Wedding Awards for all the help she gives to wedding professionals all around the world. Laurie has a passion for the industry and strongly believes in continuing education while inspiring others to be the best versions of themselves. Laurie, it is great to see you or meet you.
It's great to meet you and all of your amazing team there. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. We do. We have a great group of people that each have a unique perspective. But so let's just get started. Tell us what the Bridal Society is, just as a basis. What is the Bridal Society?
The Bridal Society is a really amazing family of certified wedding planners, where I give them their certification. They go through some great training, but it just doesn't end there. They have a lifetime membership that costs them absolutely zero. And we just share information and share tips and tricks and are there to support one another.
Well, and that's really incredible, because a lot of people that are just now getting into the idea of becoming a wedding planner or even an event professional are starting to think about certification and, well, actually just thinking about how to even get started. Why would somebody go to the Bridal Society as a means of getting started?
Well, because what we're going to do is we're going to help support them throughout their entire career. We're just not one of those companies where we are just a piece of paper and then we say, good luck, hope you can do well. That's just not who we are. Because see, I remember how it was when I got started almost 30 years ago. I really didn't have a group that I felt like I could rely on and go to for advice and for support. And so when it came time, I decided that I was going to create what I didn't have. And so that is exactly what we did. And we got together with some of the most amazing wedding professionals, and we really just decided how we wanted to kind of guide wedding planners so that we can raise the standards in the industry, because honestly, a lot of people were just calling themselves wedding planners. Like,
right.
Hey, who's your wedding planner? Well, my cousin. No.
Well, I remember that show.
Don't even be started on that.
Right.
So, to me, it was really, really important that we gave everybody a pathway, a very affordable pathway to get education, let the people know what really goes into the job.
Right.
And there are some people that take our certification program and say, oh, I had no idea it was this difficult. Maybe this isn't for me. And I think that's fantastic. That's sometimes better, so that they're not, getting into the industry thinking that it's all about just purchasing pretty flowers.
Right. And we've all been there. All of us on this panel have dealt with somebody that was like, "Oh, I did my sister's wedding." Well, no, you didn't actually do your sister's wedding.
No,
You had a group of professionals that made you feel like you did your sister's wedding, but you didn't do your sister's wedding.
That is so true.
Right?
And event planners are rated number 5 of the most stressful jobs in America, rated by Forbes. And so I think it's really important that those that are interested in getting into this career in this industry, they need to know that going in. Otherwise, it's just going to be a huge disaster for them.
Oh, and honestly, when you're talking about providing people at least a basis, because as I mentioned earlier on the Facebook Live that I did before we started the show, I've been in the event industry forever and ever. I cut my teeth as an executive director of a not-for-profit. So the best way to make money for the not-for-profit was throwing events. So I basically learned through trial and error. But if I had a program that gave me at least the basics to understand, contracts, oh my God, even contracts, figuring out even a contract. And I'm through my 3rd revision of my business card, which finally kind of tells the story that I wanted to tell. But three different business cards. It was a waste of money. Which I love
the new one, by the way.
Yeah, the new ones are amazing. But anyway, I mean, are those some of the basics that you're going to be talking about and teaching the people that are part of it?
Yeah, I would say, because this is a 16-hour program. We have several programs. We have one, the main wedding planning certification program. Then we have a wedding design fundamentals certification. Then we also have a master certified wedding planner advanced study program. So we do have some different levels here. But in the main wedding planning certification program, we do start off by just giving the basics, but then we really dive into some really meaty pieces of information. We discuss contracts and talk about the different clauses that need to go into those contracts. We discuss what your website needs to have and what it absolutely shouldn't have. We talk about the importance of making sure that you're hiring reputable and vetted wedding professionals for your clients rather than just going with a family friend. Right. There's so much that goes into it, and we talk, me and my co-instructor talk nonstop for 16 straight hours about what it needs, what it takes. But then we don't end there. We also, the Bridal Society offers free to all of our members continuing education every single month. And it's all live. It's also recorded. So if someone misses it, they can go back and they can watch and rewatch all of the recorded continuing education workshops as well. It's just fantastic. I created what I never had. And so this is really, really important. And my favorite part is my members. They're so cool. They are some of the coolest people, and they're so supportive and kind. I'm sure you guys could probably relate since you guys are in the event industry. There's a lot of cattiness. It feels like sometimes you go back to 5th grade. You're like, what's happening? What's going on with you?
Right,
people?
exactly.
And so I don't allow that in my membership. It has to be positive. You have to be kind. You have to be loving. You need to be supportive. If you can't be those things, you're probably going to need to find another group, because that means that we're not the group for you.
Well, so you mentioned that you started this program because it was the things that you were looking for. Were you an event planner to start with?
Yes, I started planning weddings back in 1993. And I was just fresh out of school. And I was trying to figure things out. And, there weren't certification conferences like there are today, right? Just that didn't exist back in 93. I did see some other groups, but it didn't feel very warm and friendly like a family. And I really wanted not only the education, but I wanted that community. Right. And then, of course, like I was saying, some people are a little catty. So I wanted to create a group where community was valued over competition. So there was just a lot going into this that I really wanted to make sure that I created something unique and special that no one's going to find anywhere else. And that's, just part of what's important to me.
And are you still doing wedding planning while you're still doing this?
I was.
I was about to say, because I can't even imagine trying to take on something else on top of the weddings that I'm planning, because it's a full-time job.
Yeah, 100%. I was running myself ragged. And then I started going ahead and taking my own advice, things that I was actually teaching my wedding planners. Try not to take on the world. But so I retired officially at the very tail end of 2015 from planning weddings on my own. So now I can just focus completely on my membership. And boy, I'm glad I did, because COVID threw us for a loop. And I feel like I've been working overtime trying to create what we needed to create in order to make sure everything runs very, very smoothly for everybody, answering questions that they don't necessarily know.
Well, because, and talking about that, I mean, you obviously have your ear to the ground. And I know that when I talk to local planners, we're not seeing the industry really coming back yet. Like, we're not seeing new brides coming in the door. We're not getting those phone calls that we typically get. Are you seeing that same pattern around the country? That seems to be the norm? And do you see a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak?
Well, I'll start with the end there. Yes, I absolutely do see a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, it kind of depends on where you are across the country. What I'm finding is some of my my wedding planners in the states in the Southeast, they really have not had any slow moments. It's full go. There's no stopping.
Right.
There have been a lot of new bookings. Now, I know that in the North East region, things have definitely slowed down, not as, but they have a lot more stricter regulations and, policies up there. So right now we're seeing that across the board, across the country, actually across the world, because we have wedding planners and members, all across the globe. Right. We're seeing that everybody's in a different place. So what I've had to do is try to figure out what's the common denominator here and how can we all get on the same page.
Does anybody have a question before I continue on, guys? I don't want to take up all the space or all the air. And Brooke, shh. Anyway, she was going to react. I thought she was going to react to that. Go ahead, Marcy.
So I wanted to find out, with regards to COVID, was there any kind of guidance or any processes that the society took on to either educate or help the people that were being furloughed or not necessarily furloughed, but just didn't have any clients at that point?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked this, Marcy, because absolutely, we have a lot of amazing free resources that we provided for our members. We have one on 8 wedding venue safety procedures. We have another infographic on 7 event considerations, and that kind of talks about the types of events that you're probably going to be seeing and what should you be doing during those in order for everything to go smoothly. We also have another infographic that is entitled 5 wedding options, and that kind of goes into the differences between a micro wedding, a mini wedding, a multi-celebration event, and then how to educate your couples on what the differences are there. Because it's funny, Marcy, that a lot of couples are like, I want to have a mini wedding, but it's the same thing. They are just saying it's just a smaller amount of people, but we want all the same things happening at the event. We're like, that's actually not a mini. That's not a micro. That's not. So right. It's really up to us to make sure that we are educating our couples. But yes, to answer your question, Marcy, that's one of the very first things that we did in March and April is we put some infographics together, and we've been updating them as things have been, evolving throughout this pandemic.
And that's got to be challenging, considering you're talking about not just nationwide, but worldwide in some instances. And because I know here in South Florida, I mean, just from Broward to Miami-Dade to West Palm, the rules are different. And literally just last week, we went from in Broward County that nobody was allowed to dance except the couple to now you can dance, but you have to have masks on.
Yes.
And it changes weekly. Do you update everything weekly? Are you trying to stay on top of that? That's gotta be
I would
crazy.
say that there's no way that we could stay on top of it weekly, knowing that I have to, whatever message I give out, it has to pretty much apply to every single person. Right. That is a part of our group. We have almost 6,000 members, and that would be nearly impossible. But we also have member meetings. I also offer mentor sessions at no charge where they can get on and talk to me. I answer their questions. We come up with solutions to some of the problems that have been arising in their specific business or their specific area. So we've really been doing, our very best to make sure that we're giving them the most updated information, but also common sense stuff as well.
Common
and I think,
sense. What?
Well, I don't even know what I'm talking
sense.
about.
What
right.
is that?
Trust me.
I
That's
have
another
4
thing.
of them.
Right? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Just sometimes just putting out there the common sense kind of solutions is a big deal.
It can be. And you hope that people adhere to these common sense things, but not everybody does. And that's another thing that when you're a leader like this to so many members, I have to make sure that I'm finding that common denominator, like I was saying just before this, and making sure too that I'm not offending anybody, making sure that I'm being as fair to as many different sides as possible, but also staying true to what I believe needs to be happening in order to keep our industry alive. So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot going on, obviously, in the world. But my main priority is to make sure that my members are up to date, understand, and have a place to go when they have questions. And that's one of my favorite membership benefits that they have is this forum where they can just ask as many questions as they want. And like, I'm not one of those CEOs that's like, all right, don't contact me. I'm on the forum talking to my members daily and answering their questions, along with all of the other advice that all my other members have that they're willing to share, which is beautiful.
Well, because and just recently, because of COVID, I've been able to have some time to investigate public relations, to investigate advertising, marketing issues. Are those kind of some of the same things that are going to be covered in your class? Because I think PR is a big one that, I was missing out for 3 years and wish, I had been at least educated a little bit just on the public relations part of it. Because there's so many free resources out there.
There are, but the problem too is which ones do you believe? Which ones are accurate, right? This is the biggest problem that I'm finding actually right now during this pandemic is now everybody considers themselves an expert. And so, I'm finding, no offense, I mean, it's fine.
True. That's awesome. It's so true.
So what we try to do is make sure that the information that's getting pushed out to my members, they know that they can rely on it and they know that I've vetted it, I've looked into it, I've researched it myself. But we also discuss a lot of that throughout even the wedding planning certification course. We talk a lot about it in the Master Certified Advanced Study program. So we really try to make sure that you having a better understanding, not you personally, Keith, but you as an industry, understand how to talk to one another, how to be kind to one another. What should you do in case a situation arises? Yep. This is the biggest thing that we can do to help our industry right now is just discuss all of the different options. But I feel like there's so much information out there. Not everybody knows exactly where to turn.
Well, and I find it kind of interesting that you provide a lifetime access to anybody that takes part of your program, because I was thinking that it's very similar to NACE in a lot of ways, the National Association of Catering and Events. That's a networking association that provides some of the same kind of basic tools and allows you to connect with other people that you feel that are certified in the event industry. But I love the fact that once you make the initial investment, that it keeps paying you back year after year. And I don't think that's not is that unique?
It's not normal.
To you guys? Yeah. Okay, I was just wondering if that was unique.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's the reason is because I want to make sure that I am a resource for wedding planners and for venue professionals, even if you can't afford to pay year after year after year. That's all I ever found. And I wanted to make sure that I provided a program where it's not even a large investment. That's what's so disgusting about what I'm offering. Okay, so our certification course is one of the least expensive certification courses in the world. And I do that because, number one, I'm not in it for the money. Number two, I need to make sure I cover our costs. But number three, I care so much about the industry itself that I feel like, looking back on my career, what did I need? What did I wish I had? And I felt like if I could just provide that, we could all just do better. That means that our industry can get better and our standards can raise if we provide a place where people aren't disappearing because they don't want to pay. So I want to make sure that, I just provide the most incredible experience for my members. To me, it's all about the experience, just like we do with our clients, right? When we're dealing with our
quick. I know you like to silence me on the show, but I gotta speak up once in a while. Go ahead. One of the things I love that you just said, Laurie, was the people. We've been at this. Well, I've been with Keith for about 2 years now, and the people like Marcy and Tyler, we have like a handful that we I call them the repeat offenders that I work with, and the people that I get so excited when I find out Danielle or Nicole or Tyler or Ralph or Jacqueline are on the event with us, because I've met some amazing people.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what you're saying about your program. The other thing
Yeah.
I really love about this, and
I'm signing up. I got my pen ready. Check this
I love
out.
it, right? Well, the other thing that I really love is that even during the age of COVID, when so many other people are having to restrict their funds because of the associations or the marketing or, you know, the monthly charges, that people would still get something back because they've already made that investment, that they don't have to continue making an additional investment in order to still be a part of it. And I think that's kind of incredible.
Yeah.
And something, by the way, I haven't signed up for Bridal Society. I will, but I haven't signed up for Bridal Society. I'm learning just like everybody else on the program as we go. And I'm becoming a little bit more impressed every time you answer a question, because I feel like you're in the know, that I feel like when I talk to you, that this is what my clients must feel. Anyway, that there's a sense of like dependency, like I can depend on you and the information, because you just sound very well versed in these. And has that been part of your success? Because it sounds like you're kind of a one-woman show.
Well, I cannot take all the credit. Absolutely not. But when I started this, I came in with specific values, and I made sure that I applied my values to my company. And so what are those values? I wanted to make sure that we were ethical. And that means that not just me being ethical and running my business ethically, but I want to make sure that I am instilling that in everybody who's going to be creating their own businesses and running their own businesses. We care a lot about integrity. To me, integrity is going to be the one important thing that you can achieve and put into your company, because to me, without it, having integrity, you're really not going to be successful at all. And you can't fake integrity.
That's my favorite thing.
Right? Yeah. You cannot fake it. So we have a lot of amazing values that we put into it. And I just don't believe in running a business unless it is authentic, unless it is all inclusive, unless it is, kind and loving, and just all about the people who are a part of that organization. We are a member-driven organization, and I'm just here to support and love and assist my members in any way I possibly can.
I love that. Now, what does it take in order? So let's say that somebody is just thinking about, let's say they plan their sister's wedding, quote unquote, right? And they're really starting to think about, maybe I want to do this as a profession. What do you think are the basic qualities that make a great planner and somebody that should maybe even think about going in this direction?
Yeah, that's a really great question. You need to have a heck of a lot of patience.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have tact. Okay, so you cannot just run off, and if someone is rude to you, cannot act rude back. I mean, you can, but that's, not so advised, obviously. But to me, you need to make sure that you have, a lot. Actually, I call it the it factor. You need to have the presence. You need to be organized. You need to be driven. You need to have thick skin. And if you don't have thick skin now, just make sure that you're working on building it. You need to be all about your clients. Make sure that their experience is more important than you saying, "Oh, look what I'm doing." It's not about us. It's about them. It's about their events, and we need to make sure that we're remembering that. I feel like there are some planners out there that are. It's all about them. Look at me. Look how awesome I am. That's not what this is supposed to be. I've been offered to do television shows. and I've said no to all of them, because that would mean it's about me now. And It's not supposed to be about us. It's supposed to be the stars of our show are supposed to be our couples.
She hasn't met me yet.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say. and actually, it's so funny that you're saying that, because that's really why we even started Behind the Veil, is because we wanted to give people an outlet to learn a little bit about what it takes to make a successful event. And so really we're finding that the show is not about us as the hosts and our Behind the Veil crew. It's really about the people that we're talking to and trying to get that information out to people that need it, because it's
so
scarier.
It's about you, Laurie, right now.
It is. It's about you, Laurie, as much as
we're just a fancy delivery system,
right? But it's a scarier than ever time. But I know Marcy had a question.
Laurie, I actually have a question about requirements. In order to qualify, is there some kind of a procedure in place that they need to be already, or are there certain amounts of time that need to be invested?
I love all of your questions. Okay, so the short answer is no, there are no requirements. And let me tell you why I do that. It's because I want even those that are even thinking about getting into the industry, I need them to know the real story before they even think about taking on the first client.
Right.
I need them to know the truth. I need them to see how important it is. I also need them to know that when you go through my course, you're going to be held accountable in case you decide to, go crazy and start treating people terribly. It's great to have that accountability when you're a part of a group like ours. So I definitely had choices, Marcy. I was, when we first decided to open this, we thought, should they have at least 3 or 4 years in advance? And I keep going back to absolutely not, because how are we going to actually help the industry if I don't teach them from the very beginning?
Right.
If we don't instill those values in them from the very beginning. And the cool thing too is that, when people take our course when they're, 20 years in, 25 years in, I had one wedding planner that took this course when she was at year 35, and she walked away going, wow, I had no idea. And some of them that have this great amount of experience say, it was so great to know that I'm validated, that I was doing it correctly. And now I don't just have my certification, but now I have a family of like-minded wedding professionals and that they can rely on and talk to. Think about this, when we all are doing events, sometimes something happens to us. God forbid we even get COVID, right? Think about this. This is some scary stuff. Now, when you're a part of our group, it has happened where someone has fallen ill or someone has had a medical emergency or a family emergency. All they do is they get on our form and say, this situation has happened, and I'm looking to see if anybody can back me up this weekend. Or my assistant failed me, and I need someone to back me up. People just jump all over it.
That actually leads me into my next question, which is, even if this is not the end goal to be a wedding planner on a 24/7 basis, and you are more of a, maybe you have another type of business, or maybe you're in catering or something like that, but you want to eventually maybe help out other wedding planners who are certified. Is this not a great fit for somebody like that, where they can be certified and also have the adaptability to help other wedding planners?
Great question.
Yeah, to me, there's never going to be a time where we should stop learning. Just like any of us that are in the industry, we want to learn more about what a DJ goes through, what a florist goes through, what an invitation specialist goes through, what a venue goes through. I think the more we have a better understanding of the whole picture, the better off we're going to be. And venues have gone through our course. I have several DJs who have gone through our course. I even had a transportation provider go through our course. Now, like you said, Marcy, it wasn't to be a wedding planner 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right. It was so that they had a better understanding of what a wedding planner is looking for, what they're dealing with, what they're going through. I have a DJ that went through our certification course, and he was his mind blew off his body and just said, I now have a much better understanding of what you guys go through. And now I know that I only want to work with someone who's certified, because I can see the difference here. It just goes, it goes to the heart of what we all go through. If there's not a certified wedding planner, you guys, then our videographers, our photographers, our florists, our DJs, they're having to do 2 jobs. That's not fair.
No.
And we need to make sure that as a certified wedding planner, we're there to support our dream team that's there to make sure that this wedding goes off without a hitch. We need to make sure that we're supporting one another, having terrific conversations with one another. And for the wedding professionals that are out there that are wondering, do I even need to work with a planner? I'll just handle that stuff. Yeah, you do. Especially a certified wedding planner, mainly because for 2 reasons, actually. Number 1, you don't have to do 2 jobs. And number 2, we're the repeat customer. Mm-hmm. Once you get in with a wedding planner and we know that you are awesome, we have vetted you, we're going to be sending you business over and over and over again. So it really can benefit everybody.
Well, and to be honest, it's like almost like you're reaching into my brain and saying the stuff I say all the time. It's crazy because I say that all the time. It's like, be nice. The number one thing that a wedding planner can do is be nice. Be nice to not just your clients, but to all the other vendors, because nobody is going to be, very rarely are you going to run into somebody that's in this industry for any extended time that doesn't want to do their absolute best because
Right.
they want that repeat business. And talking about fans and repeat business, by the way, I've never seen so many comments coming through about fangirls of yours. Oh my goodness. No, seriously, like it's literally flying in.
Oh.
With regards to you. So I'm just really, really kind of blown away by that, because that's typically that you're getting more comments than almost anybody that we've ever had on the show. So that just is a testament to, right? That's just a testament to the program that you're doing and what you're providing. So a follow-up question to that, because you talked about having other people that are not wedding professionals in that program, that are not wedding planners, but they're, DJs, photographers, etc. Is there a different platform?
Invitations.
Or invitations. Is there a different platform that they should be considering, when they're looking at the different subjects or courses that you offer? Is there a sideline kind of thing that's not for wedding planners specifically, but people that just want to know more about what is involved?
We have really been considering for many, many years now of adding certifications on for DJs and photographers and florists. But we've run into some issues with that. There have been some wedding professionals who have said, we don't need any more education. We know what we're doing and we don't need help. We don't want to. So I would say that unfortunately, that is what I'm finding more often. But what I think that the Bridal Society is going to be working on over the next year to 2 years is a general certification, where if you are just a wedding professional, at least get certified in business ethics.
Right.
And I'm not saying that that's a needed thing. I'm saying that it should be a necessary thing. It should be a basic. It needs to be our foundation of running businesses ethically and with kindness, and making sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes, making sure that we're returning phone calls and emails within a timely manner, making sure that we are staying in communication with one another, sharing information with one another. Because what is our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is to make sure that our couples have the most incredible day, but we can't ensure that if the wedding professionals are not willing to speak with one another. And that's why wedding planners, what you're going to find is certified wedding planners are so picky, and because we're not going to work with just anybody. You have to really prove to us that you are going to be awesome, and not just awesome to our couples, because that should be a guarantee.
That should be a no-brainer. That should be a no-brainer. That should be your very first thing.
Good to us too, because we want to help you. We want to make sure that your experience as the photographer, videographer, invitation specialist like Marcy, the florist, the DJ, the catering company, we need to make sure that your experience during this wedding is just as awesome as our couples and the guests.
So Tyler had a question. Tyler, what was your question, sweetie?
Well, you guys stole my subject and my question, so I'm just a pretty face. But I'm going to expand on that a little bit with just a recent experience. I think it would be an amazing thing. We kind of have it with our own little local family here, but wouldn't it be wonderful if we could go onto a job site and everyone be on the same page and understand each other's job?
Right.
I was just doing a wedding. I won't say which one, just in case someone's
watching. Can you give us the date?
But we had some. No. Set myself up for some trouble.
I'm just trying to help.
But I was immediately, pretty much, the king of the hill type of situation with the caterer. So months and months and months went into planning this event, this wedding, and table designs, floral designs, so forth. Right. And then this particular caterer comes in and just wants to rule the school. Does not want to ask questions. Does not want to listen to what you're doing. And really, it was ugly. It was a very ugly experience to where I almost wanted to walk off the job.
Oh, so no communication whatsoever.
There we go.
Yeah, we never met. We had never met. But she wanted to establish her dominance in this. And of course, I'm going to establish, I'm the one making it pretty. And then the photographer comes in and it's a similar situation. They're not wanting to listen to the thing. So it was just a whole bunch of new people coming together. And if that energy had gotten back to the bride, it could have been an ugly situation.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I want to follow up is there anything I think psychology of knowing people's personalities and so forth and how to deal with all these different personalities is very important for a wedding planner.
Or
I have
conflict
met
resolution.
So many wedding planners that, like you said in the beginning, that make the show about them, do not want to listen and just do not understand or know that have the tools to deal with all these different personalities, such as I really had to deep in my heart to not react to this particular person.
And Tyler, that's a really good question. I mean, do you provide some type of like psychological or conflict resolution classes?
Yeah, we actually, in our certification course, we talk about personalities. We go even deeper in the master certification. We talk about this in depth. And in fact, part of their assignment is to discuss what they found out about themselves and how they can improve on each of those different personality traits. It's important that we know who we are, how we, handle conflict resolution, like Keith was saying. But it's also important that we deal and know who we are and how we can kind of pick out, kind of like Tyler was saying, we need to instantly know what personality type is the person that's talking to me, what's their kind of MO, and then we can actually kind of adjust I always say that wedding planners need to be kind of like chameleons. We need to make sure that we adjust ourselves so that the people that we are communicating with understand what it is that we're saying. We can communicate a lot better. We talk about communication styles because communication styles is a completely different topic that we talk about than personalities even.
Right.
Think about it. My communication style is outspoken and direct. So I'm a little harsher. Right. But so what I've had to do over the last 30 years is tone that way down because I need to make sure that I'm not offending other people, but I'm going to give you a direct answer. When someone says to me, hey, what do you have going on Tuesday? I'm like, really? The whole Tuesday? You want to know everything I've got? How about this? How about you tell me what you need? Yes. And then I'll tell you if I can fit it in. Right. But that's my directness. And I have to, filter that by quite a bit. So like Tyler was saying, we need to know how to communicate with other people so that we can be soft, so that we can be heard. Because if we're just using our communication style without having thought about what other people are hearing and what other people are seeing, we are not going to be heard the way that we had hoped that we would be heard. And we need to make sure that we're careful about that. So yeah, these are all, to me, that's part of the foundation that I teach, even though that's not what a normal wedding planning certification conference would go over, but I'm not normal. I have figured this out.
I love that you said chameleon because that's what I thought in my head when you were explaining it with the personalities and adjusting. And I'm like, I've got 4 that live inside me. There's Becky, there's Linda, there's Stacy, and Brooke. And I'm like, so one of those girls have to pop out and be nice that when Becky's mad, So I was like chameleon, and I got it right away. And then you said it. So we're gonna get along fabulous.
Well, that's actually.
As long as Linda doesn't show up. She's not
so, Brooke, that was a really important piece, is that, honestly, you have to be a chameleon when you're doing these type of events, and that's why I say always go back to being nice. My issue is actually sometimes I'm a little too nice, and I'm not direct enough with people and saying, and I tend to try to fix everybody else's issues.
I make up for that, though. When you're too nice, I get a little spicy.
That's true. Yes. But, I try to make up for everybody else's issues. So if somebody's not pulling their weight, I end up tending to pull the weight for them in order to make sure that the event is successful. And I think that figuring out how to communicate directly and in a professional way is a big piece of everything that we do. Communication is everything when it comes to planning.
Don't steal Keith's tequila. I'll tell you what. You want to see someone come unglued? that was a gift, and I was like, "Oh, so there you are."
No, okay, there we go.
Yeah, Linda, you can hang out with Linda now.
Right. Anyway, but no. What did you have to? When you talk about communication, is that a whole? Because you said 16 hours. I don't. Does that?
Fast talking.
Exactly. I don't feel like 16 hours is enough time. Is that 16 hours just your basics, and then you add to it with other certification programs?
Well, so we used to have design in it, and then I'm like, no, we need to cut that out because I need to focus a little bit more on this, and this. So it's 16 hours of me going boom, 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 boom. Like, this is not for someone who's like, listen, I want to learn over a period of 10 years. This is, let's just get it together. Now, here's what's really, really awesome. Okay. We not only did in-person conferences, but now it's all online. So you can actually pause me and take those notes, and it's good because I just like, I really lay it on you. But I love the fact that it's online now because people can go at their own pace and take those notes and kind of build up some questions so that when they do kind of graduate, because you have to pass a test, it's not the hardest test in the world. It's were you paying attention?
Right.
Because that's kind of important. I'm not about to certify someone who wasn't paying attention. Now, when we do in-person conferences, which we've had to obviously stop for now,
Right.
But when we did those, my requirements was you're not going to have to take a test, but you have to sit in there without missing even 1 second of the course. So they sat with me for 2 straight days. And of course, I apologize to them afterwards, having to listen to me and look at me for 2 straight days.
I don't think you should have to apologize, because I'm actually having the best time ever talking to you and learning more.
I feel like I'm at this show. This is good.
I feel like, your kindness and joy, it just exudes through even the camera lens, and I can see why having it online is a huge benefit. But are you saying that before it had to be in person, and this is just a brand new part of it?
Yeah, it's called karma. So something amazing happened. We only offered these in person because I was afraid that if I did them online that we would lose that personal connection, because it's so important to me, even as an introvert and someone who doesn't feel comfortable.
Are you saying you're an introvert? You're not an introvert. No, you're not.
Yeah, no. Ask my 6,000 members. They will all tell you. I'm very quiet unless I'm talking about the business or talking about weddings. Now, you cannot shut me up. So good luck getting me
means you're a good listener. That's actually all that means, is that you're a good listener. And that's
she's loud like my blush in my cheeks. I just know.
Right. I love it.
Horrible.
But so you decided to start adding online courses, and have you seen it as a benefit? Has this worked out?
Huge, because so many people, even my members who have already taken my in-person courses, they can go back and take a refresher course. And they've also given us some amazing feedback that have said, my gosh, this was so great, because when I was in person and you're talking so quickly and so fast over those 16 hours, I feel like I may have missed some things. I love that I can go back through, I can pause, I can take notes, I can get back on the forum, I can ask questions. It's amazing. And we happened to record it, myself and my co-instructor, Chrissy Thomas, who owns Southern Sparkle Weddings and Events over in Nashville. She and I recorded this literally, you guys, a week before COVID hit. Wow. So I just think I must have like good, clean living or something. I don't even know, but it was great karma. We worked it out, but I'm so glad that we weren't able, that we didn't have to just stop, educating. So it was just really awesome. The whole thing is just good. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't believe it, because I don't do anything unless I'm going to be able to put my entire heart behind the whole thing. To me, there's no point in doing anything if you don't believe in it.
Well, and Vita Thompson said that she took the refresher course and picked up more info. So
I love Vita. She's so awesome. She's down in South Florida as well. And she's just amazing. I try to get to know each and every single one of my amazing members. There's almost 6,000. So it's become a little challenging.
Only.
Yeah, but they're important to me. They're important to me. And when they are so supportive and so kind. My husband went through cancer a year and a half ago, and you wouldn't believe the amount of support that these members brought to my life. And it was just, to me, it's just not a normal certification. We're a family. They know it. They feel it. We are all incredibly close.
Well, and again, I'm getting through the comments, and it's incredible. It's kind of the response that we're getting from people that are watching the show, and that that is a massive testament to what you do, and it's kind of the same thing, that those are the kind of responses that we would love as event planners from our clients. Getting that kind of joy from anything is incredible, and I'm just so in awe right now of you. It's just
thank you. I'm in awe of what people are saying. I'm starting to tear up.
Look at all that.
Right, and I'm starting to have a little bit of a fangirl. I mean, like next week we've got David Caruso, and David is an awesome person, and so the fact that I'm now starting to become a fan in 40 minutes. I find that crazy, and I don't know how about the rest of you guys, Marcy, Tyler, right?
So yes, I have a question for you, Laurie, with regards to the curriculum that on the 16-hour main portion, not the design portion. What kind of topics are covered in those areas?
All right. So we've got harnessing your personality and communication style, understanding your client's personality and communication style, right? Embodying the best qualities a wedding planner can have, how to explain to clients and venues, how to explain to clients and venues why they even need a wedding planner, why they should hire one, and why they should refer a wedding planner. Building fantastic relationships with venues. That's a really important thing, because you cannot be one of those certified wedding planners or just random wedding planners that go in and go, put me on your preferred vendors list. And you're not building a reputation and trying to make sure that a relationship is there first. It's insane. Educating your clients on etiquette and best practices. We talk about the importance of having a preferred vendors list and building that dream team. That is incredibly important. We talk about recognizing the great qualities in each category of wedding professionals. So this one's in depth, hours. We talk about this, what you should be looking for in a photographer and videographer, what you should be looking for in a florist and a stationery specialist, all of it. We go into detail. We talk about effective communication strategies so that they can succeed. We talk about email etiquette, because good Lord, that needs to be discussed.
Oh my God, please.
We also talk about, how to develop and keep lasting business relationships, figuring out what your niche market is and how to build a stellar reputation that's built on authenticity and being ethical and moral, which I'm not finding too often these days, sadly. We talk about, it's all on the website. So if you're looking for topics of discussion, we have them all there. Go through it. It's amazing. And then, of course, we don't stop there.
Right.
We have the continuing education every single month.
So Tyler had a question. Tyler?
Well, once again, my question has almost been answered. It seems like we're all on the same wavelength, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, basically, I was going to ask about the networking side of it. Like for me, myself, I'm a wedding planner as well as just a wedding decor professional.
Yes.
I tend to do more of the decor side of it. So for someone like me or a photographer or something, if we got involved in that, I hear that you have a forum, but how could we do networking within the system?
Right. So I kind of let my members drive that themselves. And here's what's really cute. And I just love this about my members, along with everything else about them. They actually get together and they have they get together for coffee. They get together for dinner. They put sometimes their own networking little meetings together. I try to stay out of that as much as possible because I have too many members, and I don't want to be the person who's driving this. It needs to be about them, not about me. Right. I try to stay out of it as much as possible, but we give them a way to kind of connect. So my membership concierge, Joel Parra, who is amazing and by far one of my favorite people on the planet, he put together on our forum a bunch of states in the gallery, and you as a member can go underneath your state and put your contact information there so that people can contact you. And this is going to be great for, like you said, Tyler, when you're networking. It's also great for when you have a situation where you need additional assistance or you need to just ask somebody a question there locally. Then that is a really great way to get in contact with people in your area.
So let's get down to the nitty gritty. If somebody is just getting into, starting to think about wedding planning, what are some of the costs that are associated with these certification programs? I know that nobody really wants to talk about that, but if you're
I don't mind it.
Well, but if you're in the age of COVID and you've been furloughed and you're on unemployment and you really want to do something to better yourself and get that certification, what is the cost, and do you have programs to help people out?
I do. And one of my favorite topics is talking about the cost because it's so low. Right. So our regular rate is $690, and we break that up into 3 payments for you if that's what you'd like to do. If you pay in full, we give you an instant $95 instant rebate. So where you can just go ahead and select the pay in full method and you'll only pay $595. And remember, this includes lifetime free membership. It also includes a bonus certification. I teamed up with Timeline Genius, who, the CEO, Eddie Babbage, is one of the greatest guys on the planet. And he runs a really amazing company. So we've created another certification that I give for free included in my certification. And then we have the wedding design certification. So that rate is $395. But you can't take that unless you are already a member of the Bridal Society. And I know that that doesn't sound like a great business decision on my part, because some people would probably just like to take the design. But I'm not in it for the money. I want to make sure that people get that basic first, get in, understand what I'm about, and then go ahead and add on if that's something you want. It's not required, though. You can just get your wedding planning certification course and go, good, I'm done. I don't want to have to do anything more. But the design certification course I love because it really talks it's only a 7-hour thing. So it's not like even crazy, but we talk about understanding your client's vision, analyzing the venue, consulting with the decorator, because I'm not going to be the kind of wedding planner that says, oh, let me put together all of your stuff. I'm not a, all-in-one person. I believe in making sure that we hire the right people to do the job effectively. We talk about linen selection, tenting your event, lighting the event. That's my favorite section. Love that section.
Lighting, my favorite.
I mean, seriously, it's my favorite thing ever.
I'm just saying, good looks are a light switch away. Just FYI.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, exactly. So
and we have a bundle too. So if you want to save even more money and you want to get the wedding planning certification and the design at the same time, you can save hundreds of dollars. So there's a lot of options that our payment plans are paying full.
Well, so I'm going through a program here in South Florida at Florida Atlantic University. It's an event certification program. It's 40 hours. So, no small deal to get through this. And I know that there's so many here in South Florida that are taking part of that program. And a little shout out to Dr. Peter Ritchie over there at FAU, because he's doing an amazing job for our event industry. Did I hear right that you're going to be connected with another university here in Florida?
Yeah, we actually connect with a lot of universities. A lot of universities are now bringing us on as their main certification programs. So we are part of their curriculum. They teach their own curriculum, and then in order to receive the credit, they have to go through our program as well. So it's just been really fantastic. But that's with universities all over the country. It's something that we're just like incredibly honored to even be a part of.
Right. And is it part of your degree as well to be part of the certification program, or is it like an additional learning arm of the university? It
depends on the university. So there are a lot of them that are saying you can't get the credit of that one class unless you get your certification through the Bridal Society. Some of them are just saying, here, you guys need, to all their students, you need to take this course. This is just something that, it's like an additional arm. This is something that you really need to take.
Right.
So it kind of depends on the university and how they want to put us into it.
Is there homework?
So no, work alone is homework. Oh my goodness!
I'm still eating my Lunchables. I don't care. We'll call it.
I'm just saying, 16. Again, I'm going back to the 16 hours. It must be really cramped, because just the stuff that you've talked about is just incredible. So, is there homework associated with it?
Well, no. Here's my thing: is I don't have any fluff. There's no extra fluff. I'm a real wedding planner teaching a real wedding planning certification course, where I feel like there are a lot of other courses that are not being taught by actual wedding planners who have been in the field and in the industry.
Right.
And so I don't need to throw homework at people. I'm going to give you exactly what I know that you're going to need, and then I'm going to give you the support for the rest of your career. And so I feel like that's what makes us a little bit different. I just don't believe in fluff, unless it comes to my clients, and if they are looking for fluff, I'm going to give them fluff, but not when I'm looking to educate. I'm direct. I'm very, very direct person. I'm just going to get right to the point.
It really, and honestly, I just keep going back to the 16 hours and just the fact that you're able to provide so much information in such a short time period.
Yeah.
It really is. And honestly, if you're talking about being a person that is, again, furloughed or wants to continue their education while they're working at a hotel, it feels like this program would be amazing for people to be even try to pivot their business, or even have a side hustle, so to speak.
Absolutely.
I honestly will never advocate for somebody to have a side hustle as an event planner, because it's a lot of work to do this job, and you have to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
But talking about, when do you have time off?
Oh, that's adorable.
I'm just saying, you're 6,000 members, you obviously have a very successful program. When do you, first of all, do you teach people to have time for themselves, and do you follow that advice?
I do. In fact, I just took 2 weeks off, off, the best of my ability. I did that. I really got to once we were done with all the COVID infographics and all that education, and we finally finished that master certification program, I told my team that I just need a few days, and they were so supportive and so kind, and it really helped me. And I don't even know. This is Tuesday. Yesterday was my first day back. I feel refreshed. I feel renewed, and I was chomping at the bit. My friends would call me and say, "Now you're not in the office, are you?" I'm like, "No, I'm not."
I love the fact that we got you when you're refreshed, man. It makes my day.
Marcy caught me at the right time.
I love it. Well, and in order to keep on with that refreshed attitude, I think Tyler has a question about taxes, because what's more refreshing than talking about taxes?
I can't think of anything more relaxing to discuss.
Tyler, what's the question?
I've been looking into some stuff in reference to like PPP, personal protection stuff for events, and I'm finding out that those are tax deductible. Is this continued education and so forth during this time, is this a tax write-off? Would this really help people to do this?
Oh, yes. The certification course is a tax write-off. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So there's no reason why not to
That's
invest.
actually really great.
Yeah, bring Becky, Linda, and Stacy with you, and that's 4, baby. So,
I love that. That's
2021's looking up already.
And talking about also is, do you have group rates? Like, let's say a hotel wants to get their team certified. Are there special rates for a hotel to be able to consider it?
We do. So if you have 3 or more people that are wanting to take the certification course, definitely reach out to my staff at info@thebridalsociety.com. And 3 or more, Tyler. That's right. You're counting everybody up.
I'm counting everyone on the screen.
He's like looking at our team going, okay, who wants to take part of this?
So all you have to do is send an email over to my staff, and they'll give you a discount code that you guys would use. If we see that you didn't use the minimum amount, then we either take you out of the program, or we can send you an invoice to pay the difference.
Love it. I mean, honestly, you've covered almost anything that people probably would be able to ask when it comes to even learning about the program. Susan Jeffrey Rubin asked, is Laurie accredited?
So yes, the Bridal Society is accredited, which is really important to us. And we even were looking at creating an accredited wedding professional program. And so that is still kind of just circling around and trying to make sure that we do that in all of the right ways. But again, we did get some people that said, we know everything that we need to know. So we don't need to be accredited. But in my opinion, you guys could definitely relate to this so well. How easy is it for someone to just pop up out of the blue and say that they're a wedding photographer or they're a wedding, whatever? It's insane, and it kills me.
Or a wedding planner's assistant.
It's true though. So here's the deal. I wanted to make sure that we found a way to make it very easy for couples to see who was actually a vetted wedding professional. And so we're still working on that program, but it's really hard to do it all, by ourselves. Maybe it's something I'm going to have to team up with all of you to get done. You never know. So we need to make sure that we are finding a way for couples to understand who's good, who's not, who can be trusted, who's been in the business 1 minute and who's been in the business 3+ years.
Well, and that's actually one of the things that we've been talking about with Behind the Veil. You're our 26th episode, right?
Awesome.
26th episode, and so through this process, we're hoping that we're giving people an outlet, especially if they're a planner or a professional, an outlet for additional education, and this is a big part of it. And finding out that you're an accredited is amazing. When a planner is starting their new business, do you say that insurance is an important part of that? And
yes.
Where do you direct them?
Hiscox.com is a really fantastic resource. Yeah,
that's my insurance. I love it.
I love it. I mean, I feel like they have
look at you
incredibly
two have something in
rates.
common.
I think that they do a really good job. Now, if you're a certified wedding planner, there are two that I would highly recommend that this is something you'd want to think about: either the professional insurance or general liability, or both. That's usually what we're kind of advising to our CWPs. But you need to have insurance. It's a requirement.
All right, and then
difference, just
sorry, go ahead, Marcy.
Sorry, just for public knowledge, can you explain the difference between general and professional liabilities?
Absolutely. So for general liability insurance, it is mostly going to be for if you have an office, if someone gets hurt on your property, if you're getting hurt on somebody else's property, that's going to protect you there. But professional liability insurance is going to help you more of if you have a client that says that they were not happy with your services. Because we are service-based, we're not giving a product. So we need a little bit additional protection on our businesses in that way.
Well, so random question. Are you accredited with any other, let's say a continuing education platform? Have you taken anybody else's platform and
no.
Did you learn from anybody else, or this was completely on your own and you said, look, this is my program. I want to develop it from the ground up?
That was it. So, like I said, I started back in 1993, which seems like 500 to 600 years ago. And what's cool about it is, I got to experience so many different types of clients, right? So we dealt with different communication styles. So, back in 1993, we had a completely different style of client. They communicated differently. There were no cell phones there. I mean, I had a cell phone, but it was that gigantic white, huge brick it took like a lot of muscles to lift. There was no social media. There was email was barely used, for goodness sakes. And so, I had to learn how to communicate and how to hustle without having any other ways of getting my name out there. So I had to build those relationships. And as an introvert, and this is why it's so important for me to tell people how introverted I am, is because when I'm talking to other introverts, I need them to know I overcame it. Like I figured out a way to step outside of my comfort zone and make it happen, because I had to build those relationships. I had to make sure that I was knocking on those doors and going to those networking meetings that scared the living daylights out of me. I had to talk about all of that so that I can empower and inspire other people that are going through the exact same things that I went through as a young planner. So I was able to see all of these different types of couples throughout the last 30 years where it really has helped me. But I don't just rely on myself and my knowledge. That's why I have amazing relationships with wedding professionals all across the globe that have really, to me, helped educate me on how I can be the best wedding planner on wedding day. They don't want to work with a wedding planner who comes in and just starts bossing people around and is a complete jerk, someone who doesn't communicate. And I then learned all of those life lessons, put in my 30 years, and have just, really wanted to pass the torch on to other planners.
Well, I can't believe it's already been an hour, because honestly, I could talk to you for another hour.
Know, right? I'm like, I don't even need a cigarette yet.
Right?
17 minutes, and I'm like, oh wow.
It's a huge compliment.
Well, it's huge. And I can say,
Thanks,
probably can say for the whole group, is that you've got a whole new group of fans here.
Thank you.
That's pretty incredible. So, and you did mention networking, and by the way, I think it's super important to be involved in networking in your local community. Find a networking group. If it's not with the Bridal Society, find NACE, ILEA, MBI. Doesn't matter what it is, but find those partners in your neck of the woods, so to speak, and build those relationships, because I think that's instrumental in building your business, from the ground up. And it's not always easy, and it's not instantaneous. This is stuff that takes time. And I think that, in this instant world, a lot of people assume that they're going to get that instant return, but that's not how it works. You're not going to be able to sustain that success if you try to get that overnight success. It will not work. It will not stay. Exactly. So thank you so much. Laurie, you've been amazing. So thank you so much for being on Behind the Veil.
Thanks for having me.
I think that I've learned a ton, and I know that the people that are watching have learned a ton. Thank you again, Marcy, with an Affair to Remember by Marcy, Tyler Black with Cachet Events, Brooke Logan Stoner with Keith Willard Events. Next week, we welcome David Caruso with now I can't remember his what's the coming name? Anyway, David Caruso, who's an incredible event planner that I'm like a little bit of a fangirl of his. He does events all over the globe. And so he's going to show us how to take the event to the next level. So that's next Tuesday at 2. But for today, goodbye.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.